Well, chaps, another day is drawing to an end, even I was going to say ode there for a second, and indeed a rather sad day, of course, I suppose, considering how old she was. It was what we say in this country when somebody has made an incredible age is that they've had a good innings, and that is, of course, Dame Vera Lynn. She was 103 and had been born in London's East Ham, a true East End girl, you might say. She grew up in that neck of the woods, singing in places like Poplar. Her family were not entertainment types. I believe I read her father was a plumber or electrician, and sometime in the 30s she came to the Eye or somebody, and she is best remembered, and will always be remembered hopefully, for her contribution during the Second World War, Force's Sweetheart, and mostly famous for her song We'll Meet Again, but she did many other songs, and about 11 years ago this came out, and I saw in the news, if I remember rightly, that Dame Vera was looking to sort of make a mark on the charts or something in this digital age of ours, and I think the money was going somewhere as far as charity goes, some of it anyway. And it was when we still had a HMV in town. And I thought to myself, I'm going to go out and get this. I was out of work at the time, so 10 quid on a CD was, I must say, extravagance. If you saw what I was spending on back then, most of my money was going on, if I could, food and drink. And that's to say non-alcoholic drink before anyone has any ideas. But the very best, I wanted to contribute to her chart, and I think she made it to #1, and it's the very best of Vera Lynn. And you got classics like there'll be, the White Cliffs of Dover, We'll Meet Again, As Time Goes By, and one of my favourites, although it's mostly famous, for Gracie Fields, Wish Me Luck as You Race Me Goodbye, and I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles. West Ham. I wonder if she supported West Ham, you never know. But she was an incredible lady, really, because she helped influence a great many people, be it the forces, chaps themselves, chaps in the Army, Air Force, Navy, and other places like factories and that perhaps, and especially the Armed Forces chaps. Once D-Day happened and she's out in Europe singing with them, or she's going around England and geeing out the troops before D-Day. She went all the way out to the Far East to the troops there, and I think I heard on a documentary once that she at one point was something like 3 or 4 miles away from the front line. It could have, they reckon that the people responsible were sort of really nervous that the Japanese were going to counter-attack so effectively that she could have been captured, and God knows what would have happened to her. But that was a testament to her bravery, I think, because it takes a special sort, I think, to sort of strap yourself into a plane in the days and age where plane travel was still dangerous in its way. But not only that, you got to get all the way out to the Far East. I don't know how she did the journey. Presumably she went in a ship and took her time to get out there, because it would have taken a month or something, I'd imagine. And then you entertaining chaps that could be killed in the next few days after you've seen them. But not only that, you can hear the battles nearby, and you've probably been told that, with all due respect, Miss Lynn, it's awfully dangerous. I don't know if this is a good idea. And she'll be like, well, they're out there. And all the interviews I ever saw her do, I don't think I ever heard her once say she was scared about doing such things or worried about it. She must have been deep down. You're not human if you're not worried about something. Much like how war veterans have said in countless documentaries. Anyone that says they're not scared is a liar. But she did it. And there were other entertainers, of course, and all. The British alone had the likes of, I don't know, Tommy Trinder, my mind's gone, Max Miller, and chaps like that. The Americans had Bing Crosby, of course, Bob Hope, who, as Don Rickles said in the 60s, couldn't be here tonight. He's out looking for a war. Although I heard recently, like in the past week, that apparently American servicemen were actually getting rather fed up of Bob Hope. And could they find somebody else that's a bit more modern? Oh well. But I mean, I'm a little bit emotional because I'm like Winston Churchill. I'm a bit of a sop, and you think, well, you can't compare yourself to Winston Churchill, especially at this time when he's being pulled pillar to post, which is all historical figures are. But I can never explain it. I've always felt since childhood, before I even read much about the Second World War, this kind of affinity with that generation. I'm not making any pious comments that in a past life I was doing it, although I've had some rather obscure memories when I was about 5 years old of feeling immensely tired and old, and a snapshot of Victorian style gas lamps that came from nowhere because I had not watched any films before that. Patton thought he was reincarnated, for God's sake, as generals in each life, which that's rather good luck, I would have thought. But I've always felt this kind of connectivity, if that's a word, to that generation, especially the chaps in the Battle of Britain. There's something about the Battle of Britain that always affects British types if they know their history, because the myth of 1940 started in that summer. Even Winston Churchill acknowledged her. But she was a great lady. And I once said on the tour buses, because we used to go into Berkeley Square, and some of the guys talk about the haunted house and Annabelle's nightclub, and I reached a point where I can never fit it in, even if the traffic was flowing. I could only do it if the traffic was shit in Berkeley Square, which it could often be. But on the times that you just go in from Brook Street, and then wherever, and then round Berkeley Square to go up Bruton Street, where the Queen was born. And you're like, well, here, this is a Berkeley Square. This was made famous on one hand by a song called "The Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square," which was a great song back in the day, especially during the war, when it was a ballad for lovers, and made famous amongst many others by Dame Vera Lynn, who is still with us at the age of 102, as I was saying a year ago. And then if you got stuck in traffic, they got the other bit of the square, but I didn't see the point after a while of being the far side of a square going, look, that house over there, the one next to the white one, that's the most haunted house in London. But I would always mention Dame Vera Lynn at that point. No one under a certain age would have known what I was on about. Although some people were awfully impressed that she was as old as she was. And then this year, for VE-Day's 75th anniversary on 8th of May, she was part of 8th of May, so I'll get my... but anyway, I ended there towards the end of the coverage, which, the BBC have come under fire for big offence in the past 10 or so years, like Diamond Jubilee, famously now the Royal Family have gone to ITV for things. And it was the height of coronavirus. We're still, all of us are mostly in lockdown, and we're facing an enemy that we can't see but is killing people, and we are a country that is no stranger to hardships, be it war, be it pandemics like the Spanish flu and all the others that have come since time immemorial. We've seen it, this, that and the other, and we get on with it usually with quiet dedication. Bit of bitching, bit of moaning, but we're British. To paraphrase the governor, as he was in Ghostbusters 2, it's our God-given right as Britishers to complain. And towards the end of the coverage, if you're not British, I'm wondering if it's on YouTube actually, but they did this montage of clips and people, videos and pictures and of her singing with Kathy Jenkins. Well, I don't know if it always happens in a history vid. I'm going to be a history student. The Welsh singer. Oh God, it's the emotion, I think. And some of it was out of tune, because not everyone can carry a tune. I sure so can't. And I found myself joining in because even if you don't really know the words, you do. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when. And yeah, we were united in Suffolk for a night. Not in a flag waving sort of way, but in the sense that we are British and we're going to get through it. Unfortunately, chaps, I'm a fellow of immense sentiment and a lack of common sense, as I'm finding out this week. But when I woke up this morning, I always check the news for some reason. Largely as is that the first time I more or less did, it was July 7th, 2005. And ever since then I check the news just in case hopefully something hasn't happened. And, there's a big picture of her on the BBC News webpage. Vera Lynn has died 103. I also said on the bus at the same time that, Hitler called her the most fearsome woman in Europe. I think I got my quotes muddled about what he said about the Queen Mum, or Queen Elizabeth as she was at that point. But I imagine somewhere that bastard commented upon the fact that Vera Lynn was awfully dangerous because she was going around inspiring all these troops and giving them something to hope for. She did what few could have done in the Second World War apart from Winston Churchill. The sight of Beaverbrook or Bethin or Ackley might have stirred somebody, but not a whole crowd of people. She didn't have to carry arms. Her greatest weapon was hope. And it probably made some of those chaps a little bit depressed in Burma, as it used to be, and India, and, fighting the Japanese. I was using Second World War colloquialism, so I apologise. But it hopefully, when they went to their bunks or they were sat in those slit trenches and they were getting ready to take on the Japanese, gave them some kind of hope to get through. And then at the end of the war, it was worth it, wasn't it? She lost favour in a way after the war. By the 60s, nobody was really mad about her style of singing, and then you can't keep someone like her down. She came back. Gracie Fields, I think, had some kind of comeback, and next thing you know, Vera's going through the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, into the 2010s, or whatever you want to call them. And every time the anniversary of VE Day came around, there she was. Especially a big anniversary like this year and 2015 and so on and so forth. So it was meant to be a short video, but hopefully, chaps, if you are like-minded, join me in wishing her, well, saying thanks for what she did many, many moons before I was born. But what she did, and hopefully she's at peace and always will be. So that's for Dame Vera, and I would say get the CD, but we're digital now, so download a track or two, and when the skies are grey like they were earlier today, now it's blue of course now that I'm home, well, yeah, thanks awfully, chaps.